Hi there, I'm DJ Waldow, and I turned 50 on February 23rd, 2026. So, for the next 50 days, I'm sharing one thing that I've learned over the almost 50 years on this planet. Today's thing is thing number 36: ask better questions. I learned this lesson a long time ago at work, and I've been trying to implement it ever since. There's many times early in my career that my boss would ask me to do something and I would dive in. I would put my heart into it. I'd go all in as I always do. And I would deliver the end product and my boss would look at me and say, that's not at all what I wanted. Not a great feeling. And certainly not a way to keep your job long term. The problem, of course, is that I made several assumptions along the way about what my boss wanted done, and didn't do the important work of asking those clarifying questions. I either misheard something, I misinterpreted what they said. I might have even had that frame in my head already of what I wanted to do and just sort of went that path without really recalling what the ask was. And instead of asking more questions, I just moved forward and made those assumptions and carried forward. And I think the failure to ask clarifying questions or asking more questions shows up most often in our personal relationships. Most of the time when we have conflict with another person, it's not because of ill intent. Most often, I believe, it's because we make assumptions about how the other person is feeling, where they're coming from, and we don't pause to consider the other side. We don't pause to ask them a question or ask them several questions until we understand where they're coming from, what their perspective is, what their point of view is. We assume we're aligned. We assume we know their intent, and we make those assumptions instead of asking. Again, this shows up in work, in parenting, with your husband, your wife, your spouse, your partner, whatever. It shows up in a lot of conflict. I've learned over the years to keep asking questions until you have full clarity, especially with a boss or a client or a partner. This happens a lot with kids and parenting. With our kids, we make a lot of assumptions about why they're doing what they're doing and forget sometimes it's just because that prefrontal cortex is not fully developed. Their intents may be good, their intentions may be good, but we're assuming things and not asking them why they're doing what they're doing. So the better move, and again, really hard, is to ask a clarifying question or several questions before just reacting. An example of this could be you get home and you see your kid on their device and immediately you go in on them and say, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing your homework? What's going on? And maybe they just had a bad day, but you didn't ask that question first. You just made an assumption that they were on their device because of whatever other reason. When you take the time to ask more and ask better questions, you reduce the number of misunderstandings. You lessen the chance of there being any type of conflict. You ultimately will have in the work environment better output. And I think where it matters the most is your relationships, whether they're friendships, relationships with your kids or with your partner, are better when you're able to ask more questions to truly understand where somebody's coming from. Remember also that I think too often, and more often than not, I should say, our assumptions about somebody else are wrong. We jump to a quick conclusion and we don't truly take the time to understand where someone's coming from. Does it take longer to get a project done when you ask more questions? Of course. Does it take longer to have that conversation with somebody when you ask more questions? Of course. Can it get annoying at times if you're constantly asking follow-up questions? Yes. But I would rather ask the extra question to save the headache later down the road. I'll close with this. When in doubt, don't assume. Ask one more question. That's it for today. Thing number 36, ask better questions. As always, if you like this episode or you know somebody who might like it, please share it with them. Go to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and like it and subscribe. 50things.co, put your email address in. All the things. See what I did there? Things. Anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Until tomorrow, thing number 37.